Welcome to EPG Pathashala. My name is Dr. Sheila Sridhar, Department of Dance, University of Mysore, and today's learning and teaching subject is Indian culture and the paper is Indian aesthetics and fine arts. My particular topic is classical dance forms of India. First, we will get to know the learning objectives. The module gives an outline knowledge of the various important aspects of Indian classical dances and their related technical terms. Let me introduce what is dance. Dance is an art form in which human movement becomes the medium for sensing, understanding, and the communicating ideas, feelings, and experiences. Dance provides a way of learning, one that develops communication abilities, that is how we communicate each other, the same thing we will be presenting on stage, and the problem solving techniques, creative and critical thinking skills, along with kinesthetic abilities, because we will be moving our body. Body is a vehicle for a movement. Indian classical dancing in its classical style is one of the most ancient dance forms that are still surviving. It has of course altered, but its basic elements would appear to be much as they were over 2000 years. Let us have a bit introductory study on Bharatanatyam and how that has been originated. The earliest known or discovered the text in the field of performing arts is the Natya Shastra by Bharata Muni in 2nd century BC, and this forms the basic frame of reference. The Abhinaya Darpana and the Sangeeta Ratnakara occupies the next important position in the hierarchy of Shastra. That is the theory part when we go it, but the Bharata Muni is the basic originator for Bharatanatyam and other classical dance forms of India. Now, we'll move on to how many types of classical dance forms are there. There are 8 kinds of classical dance forms that exist in India: Bharatanatyam, Kathakali, Kathak, Manipuri, Kuchipudi, Mohini Attam, Odissi, and Satriya. Then we have bifurcated into 2 parts. The first 4 were Bharatanatyam, Kathakali, Kathak, and Manipuri. Then with the regional influence, we have 4 more classical dance forms in India, that is Kuchipudi, Mohini Attam, Odissi, and Satriya. Now we move on to technical terminologies, what all has involved in dance forms. In common, that is we have 4-fold of Abhinaya, that is 4 types of Abhinaya, Bhava and Rasa. Then the ideal qualities of all these technical terminologies. Before move on to Bharatanatyam, we will get to know what is Bharatanatyam. Bharatanatyam, as I said, it's a classical dance form of India which has been named after Sadir, that is only after 1930s I think we have named it as Bharatanatyam. Before that it was Dasi Attam, Devadasi dances. So now we move on technically what is Bharatanatyam. As I said, Bharatanatyam is a classical dance form of India which has originated in the temples of Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. Bharatanatyam is known for its grace, purity, tenderness, expression, and the sculptor's poses. Lord Shiva is considered the king of dance, that is, as we all know, Lord Nataraja. Today it is one of the most popular and widely performed dance styles and is practiced by male and female dancers all over the world. Although it is more predominantly performed by women only, but then the Lord Nataraja is a male character, male performer. The name Bharatanatyam is of relatively recent origin when performers like great Guru Dr. Rukmini Devi, who revived the dance in the 20th century. The original names of Bharatanatyam were, as I said, Sadar, Chinnamelam, and the most commonly known as Dasi Attam. The word Bharata explains Bha is Bhavam. The meaning is expression. Ragam is the meaning music. Talam means rhythm. Natyam means, as you all know, to dance. Nr is a root cause for all these nrit, nat, and all to dance. Now you can see how the Bharatanatyam dancers will be dressed and performed, and their postures, how they stand, and their standardized posturesque movement you can see in this post. Now we move on to the other main classical dance form of India, which has done in the group, is Kathakali. Kathakali is not a solo performing event, which Kathakali has done in a group with different characters involved in one play, that is the sequence wise or the story wise, as Kathakali, Katha means storytelling. Kathakali is a stylized classical Indian dance drama noted for the attractive makeup of characters, elaborated costumes, detailed gestures, and well-defined body movements presented in tune with the anchor playback music and complementary percussion. It originated in the country's present-day state of Kerala during the 17th century and has developed over the years with improved looks, refined gestures, and added themes. Besides more ornate singing and precise drumming, they use a different kind of drum beat. The main dancer who promoted this is Vallathol Narayana Menon, who is credited with revitalizing as Kathakali in the present day. He stimulated the world's interest in this art during his tours abroad between 1950 and 53. I'll just give you one example. To communicate, we use one hand gesture, whereas in Kathakali, to show one meaning, they use different types of gestures. Like blooming a flower, if you want to say, we just say it's bloomed. Whereas they say, flower, from that it's growing. It's like this. I've just given you a little explanation, then we'll continue with the other things in detail later. This Kathakali art form, which has been revived in modern Kerala, was mainly due to the efforts of this great person Vallathol, and the place Kalamandalam, which is in Kerala, was the main cause and the reason for this origin Kathakali. Katha means story, as we all know. Kali means to play. When we narrate a story through some art form, that will be the play narration. That is why it is Kathakali. Now you can see this picture and their makeup, gorgeous costume, which takes more than 3 to 4 hours to dress up, and their wonderful costume designs and the makeup with different colors. Now we move on to the next classical dance form of India, that is Kathak. Whereas Bharatanatyam and Kathakali is from southern part of India, now Kathak is northern part of India. This dance form traces its origin to the nomadic bards of the ancient northern India known as Kathakars or the storytellers. Its form today contains traces of temple and ritual dances and also the influence of the Bhakti movement mainly. From the 16th century onwards, it absorbed certain features of Persian dance and Central Asian dance which were imported by the royal courts of the Mughal. That is why we have more Mughal influence in Kathak dance form. The name Kathak is derived from the Sanskrit word Katha. As I said in Kathakali also, Kathak means story. And Kathaka in Sanskrit means he who tells a story or to do with the stories. As this is a performing art, we will be narrating with the storytelling movement. There are three major schools in Kathak dance form. That is, we call it schools of Gharana or Kathak, from which performers today generally draw their lineage. The Gharanas of Jaipur, the Gharanas of Lucknow and the Gharanas of Varanasi, which is not very well known, that is Varanasi, but then other two forms are very famous, that is Jaipur Gharana and Lucknow Gharana. There is also a less prominent Rajgarh Gharana, which is amalgamated technique from all three preceding Gharanas, but became famous for its own distinctive compositions. As I told you, Bhakti movement started with this Rajgarh Gharana. Etymology says the name Kathak is derived from the Sanskrit word Kathak, that is meaning story, and Kataka in Sanskrit means he who tells a story or to do with stories, the narration of some sequence or stories, or the solo performer is Kathak dance. Now you can see the Mughal influence in this costume, though they perform with the Hindu Bhakti movement and Hindu traditional movement of dance. This is Kathak costume, movement and postures. Now we move on to other important classical dance form of India, that is the divine art form Kuchipudi. This is a classical Indian dance from Andhra Pradesh. It is also popular all over the South India. Now it has spread all over the world. Kuchipudi is the name of a village in the Divi Taluk of Krishna district, that is the border of the Bay of Bengal. According to legend, a great personality, Sri Siddhendra Yogi, who is considered to be the founder of this great art form Kuchipudi dance drama tradition. The performance usually begins with some spiritual stage rites, after which is each of the characters come onto the stage and introduces herself or himself with a daravu, is a technical term, which is a small composition of both song and dance to introduce the identity, to set the mood of the character in the drama. This Kuchipudi dance is accompanied by song, which is typically a Carnatic music. The singer is accompanied by mridangam, as we all know, the percussion instrument, a classical South Indian instrument, and the other instruments are violin, flute, string instruments and the tambura. Ornaments or the jewelries worn by these artists are generally made of a lightweight wood called burugu, which is originated in the 7th century. Kuchipudi is the name of a village in the Krishna district of Andhra Pradesh. Now we can see the wonderful art form of Kuchipudi, how they dress up and their jewelry and their beautiful sculpturesque postures, which gives the divine feeling. From south to north, again we jump down to Manipuri. Manipuri, as the name says, thus it originated from Manipur, a state in northeastern India on the border with Burma. The cult of Radha and Krishna, that is Rasa Leela in particular, is central to its themes, but the dances unusually incorporate the characteristic symbols, that is kartal or manjira and double-headed drum, poong. It looks like damaru or the mridanga, both the sides we use it. It looks like, but then it is big in center and lowers the level of the size in the end. The important gurus of this performances or this art form, Guru Nabakumar, Guru Bipin Singh, Guru Rajkumar Singhjit Singh and his wife Charusija Mathur. And for the present famous dancers, if we want to mention, the Javeri sisters, the famous four sisters, that is Darshana Javeri sisters and Elam Indira Devi, and many more important and prominent exponents of this classical dance form. In the present time we can witness and see for this beautiful art form. Manipuri classical dance form is claimed not only to be one of the chastest, modest, softest and mildest, but the most meaningful dance form of the world, which narrates with their own costumes and with their beautiful graceful movement. Manipuri dancers do not wear ankle bells as other classical dance forms wear. They tapped out by the feet, in contrast with other Indian dance forms and the dancers, because the feet never strike the ground very hard. Movements of the body and feet and the facial expressions in Manipuri dance are subtle and the aim at the devotion and grace. That is the main character of Manipuri dance. Manipuri dance covers a number of different dances from Manipur, a state in the northeast corner of India, as I said, but then they have Goti Puva, very particular, very different forms of movement we find in Manipuri dance. Even with their costume we can see the speciality. Now we move on to the beautiful picture of Manipuri, which looks like umbrella. You can see the male and female character like Rasa Leela, Krishna and Radha movement. So from Manipur we jump down to Mohini Attam, again which is from southern part of India, which has been believed that it has origin in 16th century. The term Mohini Attam comes from the words Mohini, which we all have heard, the Mohini form which has taken by Lord Vishnu, meaning a woman who enchants onlookers, and Attam is meaningful, graceful and sensuous body movements. The word Mohini Attam literally means dance of the enchanters. There are two arguments on the etymology of this dance form, one being the historical lineage and the other being the mythological lineage. We can see two, that is One is historical and the other one is mythological, which is bound with both lineage, yet it gives Mohini the form of Lord Vishnu's female form, transformation of female form of a male god. According to historical lineage, it says that similar to most other classical dance forms of India, this dance form too was only practiced in some of the temples in India by female dancers only, and was later brought out to the common audience, where it went through numerous stages of changes only in the temples and then transformed into theatres. Now I will tell you one important and interesting about this origin of Mohini Attam. The mythical lineage is explained with two stories of the Lord Vishnu. Disguised as a Mohini in one, he appears as Mohini to lure the Asuras, that is the demons, away from the Amrita obtained during the churning of Kshira Sagara, ocean of milk and salt water, that is nectar and honey. In the second story, which is quite interesting, Vishnu appears as Mohini to save Lord Shiva from the demon Bhasmasura, Harihara. The name Mohini Attam may have been coined after Lord Vishnu. The main theme of the dance is love and devotion to God. That's what I told you, which is quite interesting. With usually Vishnu or Krishna being the hero, Devadasis used to perform this in temples. We could see previously, but then the transformation of Mohini Attam then changed from temple to theatre later. It also has elements of Kuttu and Kudiyattam. Mohini Attam is a drama in dance and verses. The three pillars of Mohini Attam are Sri Swati Tirunal, Sri Ramavarma and Sri Vallattul Narayana Menon, and present Srimati Kalamandalam Kalyani Kutti Amma, who has contributed her whole life for this art form. The same Mohini Attam costume, Mohini costume, the costume which wore by Lord Vishnu to attract demons, we can see in Mohini Attam dance performance or dance artists who dress up like Mohini. From south, again we move on to Odissi now, which is known as Odisha. Odissi dance, it originates from the state of Odisha in eastern India. It is the oldest surviving dance form of India on the basis of archaeological evidences, which is quite interesting. The classical treatise of Indian dance, Natya, refers to it as Odra or Ouda Magadi, which has been named in 1st century BCE. Bar reliefs in the hills of Udaygiri testify to its antiquity. It was suppressed under the British Raj, British dynasties, but has been reconstructed since India gained its independence. It is particularly distinguished from other classical Indian dance forms by the important it places upon the Tribhangi. There are three bhangis, three postures in a body. Three parts of the body breaks with the movement. The independent movement of the head, the chest and the pelvis, and upon the basic square stance known as chauka. We all know chauka means square. Chauka, that symbolizes Lord Jagannath. His sculpture is also in the same Tribhangi and chauka. This dance is characterized by various bhangas, that is stance, which involves stamping of the foot and striking various postures as seen in Indian sculptures. The common bhangas are the abhanga, atibhanga and tribhanga. There are three bhangas as I mentioned before. Though a very old dance form, Odissi got recognition as a classical dance form from the central government officially after efforts by many scholars and performers in the 1950s, including a powerful lecture demonstration which has been held in April 1958 by Kavi Chandra Kalicharan Patnaik, an Oriya poet, famous poet, dramatist and researcher for this art form. Patnaik is also credited with naming the dance form as Odissi in 1958. The etymology gives it originates from the state of Odisha in eastern India, hence we name this Odissi dance form of India, which is a classical dance form with the beautiful religious and regional influence costume which we can see in this art form. Just the neighboring state of this Odisha, but distinctive place, but then this is also from the eastern part of India, that is northeastern part of India. The Satriya is the most recent entrant in the list of Indian classical dances, which was very recently added as a Indian classical dance forms. Before that there were only 7 dance forms of India, but very recently they added Satriya also because they also follow the text of Bharata's Natya Shastra, the ancient text. That is why this art form has included as Indian classical dance form. Satriya has remained a living tradition since its creation by the medieval polymath Srimata Shankar Dev in 15th century, a designated place in Assam. The core of Satriya Nritya has usually been mythological stories. This was an artistic way of presenting mythological teachings to the people in an accessible, immediate and enjoyable manner. Traditionally, Satriya was performed only by bokots, that is male monks, in monasteries as a part of their daily rituals or to mark special festivals. That's why it was known as ritualistic dance, but then later it has joined to one of the classical dance forms of India. Please, you all try to understand, though it is new, it has its own sanctity in its art form. Today, in addition to this practice, Satriya is also performed on stage by men and women who are not members of the Satras on themes not merely mythological, but yet they perform with authentically and sanctity maintained, well performed art form. The word Satriya is derived from Satra, which means monastery. Since the dance developed and grew within the Satras, it is named after these religious institutions is Satriya dance form. It has also a beautiful, wonderful, sculpturesque costumes and movement. After knowing all these 8 classical dance forms of India, all these art forms follow technically same words and the movement, though in practice it changes. The technical terminologies involved in all these dance forms are Nritta, Nritya, Natya and Abhinaya. Nritta means abstract movement or abstract dance. Nritta corresponds to pure dance performed rhythmically. Here, the movements of the body do not convey any mood or any meaning, and its purpose is just creating beauty by making various patterns in the body. The main parts of the body, that is Anga, Pratyanga, Upanga. The main parts of the body, limbs of the body and the Upangas, which gives expression of one meaning. The whole body moves to say one meaning or one word. If I want to say come, in all languages we call it like this one. Come. We don't say come, or the word gives different meaning, but when we say to come, it is just come. We all move our body front and communicate that you should come. So language is not a barrier, but then all these technical terms are same and equal distribution and contribution in the field of dance. Then we move on to Nritya. Nritya corresponds to the mime performed to the song. According to the lyrics of the music, we perform and give the meaning of the same. That is, in other words, it is an interpretative dance. The Vachikabhinaya of Natya, that is Vach to speak, where the actors themselves use speech, is replaced by the music and song which accompanies dance. Then the next technical term is Natya. Natya corresponds drama, that is the thematic view. Natya means dramatic representation or drama with speech, music and dance, if we say it technically. We move on to very important thing, Abhinaya. Abhi is a prefix word. Abhi means two words which leads to spectators. Ni, nai, to act, we say. That is a root meaning to carry something towards spectators is an Abhinaya. So Abhinaya means to carry towards, that is to carry the meaning towards the spectator, whatever we present it on stage. We have 4 parts in it, that is Angika Abhinaya, which means to convey the meaning through our body movement. Vachika Abhinaya, as I said, which means what to speak. It is the expression through speech, whereas in dance with the playback music, we just follow the lyrics, what they sing behind the stage, and we follow with the meaning on stage. Aharya Abhinaya, as we all see the different types of costumes, different types of stages, it always depends on the region and religion. The aspect of Aharya involves Rangabhushana, decorating the stage, the makeup, the costumes, the ornaments, the jewelry, the preparation of the theatre, backstage, everything comes under Aharya Abhinaya. Sattvika Abhinaya, it is regarded as the expression of Sattvikas, Sat, which is pure, the particular and the peculiar emotional state which is producing in the mind, the particular physical reactions which gives different meanings. The inner feeling, when we represent according to the character and the lyrics of the meaning, all these comes under Sattvika Abhinaya. You should feel the character, then only Abhinaya, as we know, sort of imitation of a character. So all these 4 parts involves in Abhinaya, that is Angika, Vachika, Aharya and Sattvika. Okay, I'll tell you now with one good example, that is what is Abhinaya, to make you understand very easily. Few things we can represent it with mudras, that is the usages of hand gestures. Like when I keep or when I do something, you can easily understand that what I am doing. See, when I do this, you can easily understand that what I am doing. I don't need to say with speech or the words. If I just say this, which is a common terminology which you all can understand. The same way, with this one we call it, that is Abhinaya Hastas. With one hand gesture, we show different meanings. Like when I place it here, the same hand gives one meaning. The same hand, if I do this, then the people can understand with a different meaning. When I do this hand gesture, I'll be using took. The same hand I can use it for come. I can show stop. I can threaten. But this hand gesture expresses the meaning, that is Abhinaya, only when I move this. That is why I said it's Abhinaya. The same way when I hold hand gestures, like when I keep like this, you all can understand. You don't say, oh, this is Shiva. When I hold this, this shows the movement of playing flute or holding a flute. Then you can easily understand. This is what we do it in Abhinaya. When I say some other technical word, then you will understand the difference between what is expression and what is imitation. So this is, I'm just imitating a character or a thing to establish or to carry the meaning towards spectators or towards learners. So this is Abhinaya. Now we move on to Bhava. As I told you, Bhava is an expression. To express something, we need a reason behind it. Whereas I represent Krishna, then you could understand this. But when I want to express some love or disgust or anger, I need a reason behind it. I can't just express my anger or love. Anything, I can't just express it. This you will be learning in later classes, later explanation. But then just to give a small introduction about Bhava, the literal meaning of Bhava is becoming or being or that which becomes. Bhu, bhav, that is to become. To become or to get or to feel, you need a reason behind it. Without reason, it cannot arise, because which is inside. To express, we call it technically in advanced classes. To know, it's just an introduction. As a technical, I'm just giving this meaning. In dance, it would indicate the emotional and the existing conditions or the emotional state of the character which portrays. So when the bhavas or the expressions are perceived and the true appreciation of the beauty of art happens only when rasa it bonds, which you all will be learning in future classes. So without expression, you cannot reach people what you are feeling or what you are exhibiting. Now, as I said, we have different types of expressions. Without expressions, there will be no sentiments. I told you Abhinaya is to carry meaning to the viewers. So, when I say something, if I want to express love, there are two characters standing on stage. If I want to express a love, I will be showing to the other person when I feel. That is along with the age, or I show the shy, then you will understand, oh, something is going on stage. that will be received by the audience. If I want to show the anger, then the character will be involved with, then you can understand, I will be reaching to the audience with anger mood. See, there are basically the permanent state of mind, it's not my illusion word. All this has been said by Bharata Muni 10,000 years ago, 50,000 years ago. All scholars mention that all these imbibed in our mind and body. That is why soul, body, mind is to reach audience, means we have to express, we should feel first. There are 9 types of permanent state of mind, that is we all follow and we all have in our mind, that is love. We all love each other in the world. We all laugh at times according to the reason it just comes out. Sorrow, anger, valor, fear, disgust, wonder, peace, all these things which is in our mind, but it comes out according to the situation. And with love, when the expression of love, the emotion arises in audience, that is only the essence of it they will enjoy. The relish, rasa means the essence of it. All the ingredients of other technical things like vibhava, anubhava, vibhichari bhava, all these things when we express, people will understand with the whole gist, they will give one meaning. Then the people will carry with that meaning, that is rasa. So bhava is an expression, abhinaya is an imitation, and all this with the permanent state of mind, that is which is known as sthayi bhava. This is bhava, rasa and abhinaya, nritta, nritya, natya, all these technical terms which is in our general life, which makes people understand with all these technical terms. This is dance as a common terminologies in all classical forms of India. Now, with all this basic introduction, I think you all have understood in detail. Let me conclude this module with all this introduction. Thank you very much. Now, with all this other information with the e-text and all, you will get more details on this subject. Thank you.